let me just tell you about the programs in general. So we have the general program, and it's always available on my website, but of course, we have a special offer for you right now going on. And then of course we have the live challenge. So the basis of both of those are exactly the same. It's 6 weeks of guided videos walking you through the Autoimmune Solution program, which is based off of my book, but it's a much deeper dive into questions that people kind of emailed me after I wrote the book looking for more information. And then I added that into a program. So what you'll do is you will definitely get to find the root cause of what's going on with you, because autoimmunity can be prevented and it can be reversed. You know, I see it day in and day out. And of course, these aren't people who are flying to come see me as patients. These are people from around the world that have done this program. So we have this program always up on my website. So we have hundreds upon hundreds of people who've already gone through this program. And then we get feedback and we tweak it and we change it. So this is, you know, after a decade of working in my clinic with people with autoimmunity, of course, writing a New York Times bestseller, The Autoimmune Solution, and then having people actually go through this program and then, you know, tell us their feedback about, you know, what they liked about the program, what they didn't like about the program, what went really well for them, what could be, you know, improved upon. And as I said, this is a much deeper dive. So if you've been dealing with a bunch of different doctors and you're just not really getting anywhere, you're getting frustrated, you might feel overwhelmed, this is a place for you. This 6 weeks, you're going to have guided walking through exactly what to do. So many people are able to get, you know, pain-free. They're able to get their symptoms reversed, their swelling to go down. Of course, a lot of people lose weight. That's definitely not something that we intend to happen on this program, but it is a positive side effect of the program is people lose weight. But they get their energy back. They feel, you know, revived. They're not in pain anymore. They don't have fatigue. They don't have stiffness. They don't have swelling. All those kinds of things that are going on with autoimmunity. And in just 6 weeks, you know, if you think about it, many people have been diagnosed, it's been for many years. And in just 6 weeks, they're able to, you know, get pain-free, get their life back, reverse their autoimmunity naturally. If you're not familiar with me, this is all done in a very natural way. Diet and lifestyle changes. They're dishing their harsh medications that are ultimately suppressing their immune system. So what we do is we work to support the immune system. It's not really work, but what I'm doing is supporting your immune system. You know, conventional medicine is really suppressing your immune system. And what we're doing is supporting your immune system. And we do that through really delicious recipes, through real whole foods. There are no supplements required on this program. Now, we do offer some supplements if you kind of want to jumpstart your healing. But you know, this is a all-in-one comprised program that when you sign up for the program, everything that you need is right there in the program. So there's no something hidden that you need to do on top of that. But you know, delicious meals and lifestyle changes are what we're going to be doing. Walking through, of course, the 4 pillars of the Myers Way and looking at your diet, your leaky gut, toxins, infections, and walking through each one of those to really guide you to pinpoint what is your personal root cause, what are your personal triggers. This is a very personalized program to help you figure out what are the things that are holding you back from having your best life and getting off these medications and getting your life back. Absolutely. So a couple things, we've included tips for dining out and traveling already in the program. So you'll have that. As long as you have an internet connection, if you want to be a part of the group, you will get everything emailed to you ahead of time. You can download it and have it on your computer. If you want to be in the Facebook group, you'd obviously need internet access in order to engage in the Facebook group. In terms of the Q&As, if you miss those with me, you can submit your questions ahead of time. And I always I answer all the questions. Typically we spend about an hour, but sometimes they run over because I make sure I answer all the questions. And if you miss that, you can submit your question ahead of time. And if you're not able to watch the replay, then we will email out the transcripts and the videos, and you can watch those at your leisure. And they stay up in the Facebook group for the life of the Facebook group. So we have about 75 people or so who've already signed up. We actually started sign up earlier this week. We're anticipating somewhere between 100 and 200 people. So in our Candida Challenge, we usually have about 600 people that sign up. And those people have left that group knowing or telling us the feedback that we get that it's the highest level of support they've ever had. So if you can imagine, if you have even a fraction of that group, you'll get even a higher level of service. Now, please know this is not one-on-one counseling. I cannot, offer medical advice like, I have this, what should I do? This would be a great place for you. You'd have the accountability of me, my team, and the other people doing the program. This is very different. So first of all the recipes are totally different than they are in the book. So if you're also just looking for new recipes, the information at its foundation is very similar to the book. However, I go in deeper, and the value really here in this is in the time with me, my team, the other people going through this at the same time, the private Facebook group. So it's all of that, additional support that you're getting. So I do dive deeper, and there are videos that go along with it. At its foundation, I'm not going to suddenly tell you, oh, you can start eating grains or something like that, right? So it's not going to be different information. It is just going deeper with the information that I talk about in the book. And it's also presented in a different way with the videos. And then of course, what I believe the value in doing this as the challenge is the time with me, the Facebook Lives with me, the opportunity to answer questions. This is a fully digital product, so you can purchase this anywhere in the world. There's no shipping or anything. It gets delivered to you right away. And as supplements, we ship worldwide. There are a couple of countries that we've been a little bit banned from, but we are shipping worldwide. When things aren't getting better with just diet alone, you need to look at the 3 other pillars of my program. So certainly I would recommend doing the program or looking beyond diet, which is at toxins, leaky gut toxins, infections, and toxins, leaky gut toxins, infections, and stress. The information is available to you lifelong, so you can certainly pick up afterwards if that's the case, or if you need a money back, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So osteoporosis is not considered autoimmunity, nor necessarily inflammation. We know that osteoporosis is there can be problems with absorption, there are problems with the receptors. I think eating a real whole foods diet is helpful for anybody in any type of chronic condition. So this isn't specifically designed to help with osteoporosis, but certainly, knowing about optimizing your vitamin D, eating a real whole foods diet, it could be helpful, but it's not specifically designed for osteoporosis. So foods, of course, as you've already mentioned, infections, candida, SIBO, parasites, toxins, other types of infections. We're now realizing viruses are in our microbiome as well, like herpes and Epstein-Barr. So many, many other things can as well. Absolutely. So healing your gut is one of the first steps, and certainly a pillar in the Myers Way program. So absolutely. For me, the Myers Way multivitamin, I drink a paleo protein powder shake every day and add collagen into it. For me personally, I can't live without the glutathione and the methylation support. Those are huge for me with detox issues, mold issues, things like that. Fish oils, I think everybody needs fish oils, probiotics, and vitamin D. So those, of course, are my go-tos. And then on top of that, I add methylation support, glutathione for detoxification. And then I drink, right now, I'm pretty hooked on the Mocha paleo protein powder. We are out of stock at the moment. So my second favorite is the vanilla, and we have plenty of that, and collagen. So it's likely both, and it's very difficult to say which came first, the chicken or the egg. And the program, of course, will help support you in both of these, both, lowering your food sensitivity load, and it specifically walks you through how to heal from candida. Absolutely. So the 4 pillars of the Myers Way are to change your diet, heal your gut, tame the toxins, heal infections, and relieve stress. So relieve stress and heal infections are together. It's really get rid of gluten, grains, and legumes is pillar one. So what happened is we learned that vitamin D is very crucial. It's more like a hormone, and that it works in hundreds of reactions in our body. And then a lot of people with chronic illnesses, particularly autoimmunity, have low levels of vitamin D. So everybody started jumping on this vitamin D bandwagon and just taking tons and tons of vitamin D. And then we realized that vitamin D can lead to calcifications. And of course, you want that in your bones, but sometimes it could lead to it in your arteries. So if you don't take vitamin D with vitamin K, then they discovered that taking vitamin K with vitamin D was much more important to do, so that it made sure that the calcifications were happening in your bones rather than in your arteries. So all the vitamin D on my website comes with vitamin K, and it's, important to make sure that when you do take vitamin D, that you take vitamin K. I also don't recommend taking really high dosages like the conventional doctors are doing. It's like a 50,000, unit once a week. Our bodies are not designed to absorb that amount of anything, but certainly, vitamin D. Our bodies are not designed to absorb that amount of vitamin D all in one dose. Normally, we were walking around hunter-gatherers getting vitamin D every day. And so then if you wear sunscreen and never go outside and you take a big dose once a week, that's not really how our body was designed to absorb it. So I find it's better to take, 5,000 or whatever your doctor is recommending once a day rather than 50,000 once a week. Now, when you say you've been on the Myers Way, if it's just been the diet, then I would highly recommend the program, because we're diving much deeper than the diet. We're walking through all four of the pillars of the Myers Way. So, you will have, particularly if you do the challenge, the support of me and my whole team and other people. So there might be something that you write in the Facebook group, or, ask a question like you are now that gets uncovered. You might write in the Facebook group that, you're living in a house that was built in the 1950s and you have this chronic leak. And then I say, oh my gosh, sounds like you have toxic mold potentially in your house. I would really get that looked at. And then you do. And then, suddenly you're able to get out of your house and get off your Plaquenil and Cellcept. So those things do happen in the group. I, of course, can't offer you specific medical advice to you, but if I hear things like that, I can offer you about kind of what I'm thinking if I heard those kind of things. So that's the kind of interaction that we have in the Facebook group. So yes, so it's, the program is designed to help with any type of autoimmune condition. What we're doing is we are working to support the immune system rather than to suppress the immune system. So as I mentioned, it's 6 weeks. The basic challenge, or the original program is 6 weeks of video. So I spend time really just talking like I am now. I'm not reading the book or anything like that. So there's some of the same foundations as the book. And I spend a lot of time talking, just spending more time talking about toxins, where they can be found. I spend more time talking about mold like I am here. That is only as an appendix in the book. EMFs, dental stuff, some of the stuff that's in the appendix, I spend a lot more time talking about in the program. So it does come from a beef-based protein. However, the feedback we get, and I've had histamine issues before, people tolerate it just fine. And again, with all my supplements, I have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you try it and it doesn't work for you, you can send it back and get a refund. You can buy it, as a, ebook or whatever it is. What is that called? A Kindle. If you have a Kindle, you can buy it there. Absolutely, it is designed for that. I drink it every single day almost. Technically, they can be used together. I can't offer any specific advice to you. Technically, they can be used together. We typically will have patients try one first and then add in the other and just make sure that they can tolerate them okay. absolutely it is. That's a great question. So I get asked about exercise all the time, and the right amount of exercise is the amount that you feel energized after, maybe a little tired, but then after, like resting or going to bed and waking up the next day, you feel rejuvenated. If you're sluggish, you feel exhausted, you're in pain, you can't get out of bed because you're so exhausted, it's too much. So she might be able to tolerate boot camp and you can't, or you might be able to and she can't. Boot camps, I don't know what the boot camp is, but if your thyroid's off, your adrenals might be off. And so it might be better to look at more restorative types of exercise, like a yoga, like a walking, stretching, a lower impact. So really, it just depends on what kind of shape you're already in and how you feel when you do the exercise. So that's what I tell everybody about exercise, particularly with autoimmunity, that you should feel tired at the end, but also, a little rejuvenated after you've rested, i.e. gone to bed or whatever. You wake up the next day and you feel good, rejuvenated, you feel better. In general, exercise, gives you energy. So if you're feeling exhausted, tired, can't get out of bed, can't move, achy, all that kind of stuff, you've done too much and back off. But also, that brings up a great point, which is that this is not necessarily in lieu of. You don't have to tell your doctor, forget it, and you're going to go do this. If you want to work with your doctor and do this at the same time, those are appropriate to do. And then typically what will happen is as people get better, they need less medication over here, or if you're on a medication that you get once a week or shots or something like that, then maybe you can space it out and you go 10 days and the next time you go 2 weeks and then you go longer and longer, and then you end up weaning off the medication. So lowering dosages, weaning off, or getting off completely. But this does not need to be an either or. This is something that you can work with your doctor. And I definitely never recommend that anybody stop their medications, particularly if they're working for you, as they start a program. All of that in my book, The Thyroid Connection. So I would absolutely recommend that you pick up a copy of that. Also have a lot of free information on my website as well. And I walk you through exactly what tests, and I even have a letter to your doctor in there. So I'd recommend that, that you checked out that information. So curcumin, particularly in its fat-soluble form, which is what we have on my website, is much more bioavailable, meaning that it can penetrate into the cell. If you just eat turmeric, it's a great thing to do. We have turmeric in a lot of our recipes, great herb or spice to cook with, wonderful, but you don't absorb a lot of it. So in order to get it into your cell, which is where it's working as an anti-inflammatory agent, you need a fat, because our cell membrane is made of fat. You need a fat in order for it to penetrate in and then go to work. And you can also take a lot less of it with a fat soluble form like we have on my website. So we love turmeric. We love curcumin even more. And then when it's in a fat soluble form, we love it even more. There is some very, very minimal amounts of milk protein left. We used to have a very clean source that was able to eliminate them 100%. And then the company realized it and they then turned it into a prescription drug. And added a bunch of corn to it and ruined it. But anyway, so what we have available to us, yes, that is one of the supplements that I recommend to my to people who with autoimmunity, as long as they don't have any reaction to the small amounts of milk proteins still in there. So it is perfectly great to take. I have a whole program. Sounds like maybe you have Graves' disease. I have a whole program in the Thyroid Connection. We will walk through some of this in the program, in the Autoimmune Solution program, but for very specific stuff about T3, I'd recommend, or for thyroid, I'd recommend that you also, if you plan to do the program, pick up a copy of the Thyroid Connection, or just, do the program in the Thyroid Connection for Graves' disease. So I have some thyroid calming herbs in there that I recommend instead of, or in addition to the methimazole as well. That's how we're trained in conventional medicine. When something gets discovered in science or medicine, it takes about 18 years until it starts to get into practice and medical schools. So Dr. Fasano's research has only been around for about 10 years at the most now. about leaky gut and autoimmunity and all of that. So we still have about another 10 years before mainstream medicine, really starts to, pick this up in their training and their journals and in their practices, unfortunately. How can you know if you have leaky gut? Well, there is some testing that you can do through a functional medicine doctor, or I have many quizzes. You can go to my website. I believe you can also just go to amymd.io/quiz. And there's a free quiz there that you can take as well to find out if you have leaky gut. Absolutely, this will stay up on my Facebook page. As soon as we're done, you can go back and listen from the beginning. We have a whole article on my website about this. We address this in the program as well, because there are a lot of people who have problems with that as well. A lot of people do lose weight on the program, so we address that in the program. We have articles on my website about that, so you can search my website and find those. Could be there's a molecular mimicry between dairy and gluten, so that is certainly something that I think about. So again, guys, diet is certainly the first pillar of the Myers Way, but then you have leaky gut, toxins, infections, and stress. So there are 4 more things to work through, and that's exactly what we do in the Autoimmune Solution programs.